City volunteers in Mozambique donate food to residents affected by hurricane. Recycling station in Fuding resumed operation on the 4th day of the Lunar New Year. Welcome to the headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. Mozambique was devastated by Hurricane Eloise last month. In Buzi, about 10,000 residents were evacuated to 10 areas set up by the government. However, the food there is limited. Therefore, city volunteers have prepared cornstarch, beans, cooking oil, and utensils and delivered them to the affected residents. At the end of January, Hurricane Eloise swept through Mozambique, devastating Guaragora in Buzi town. Local government has set up 5 tent areas, and nearly 2,000 families are taking shelter in them.
I came here because of the government's arrangement. This tent area provides food and boarding, but there are too many people here. We only get 1 meal a day.
Bearing the hot temperature and limited resources, the affected residents' lives are difficult.
I did not get a tent, so I must live outside. Therefore, I have set up a simple tent to sleep. However, the sun is too hot and I cannot bear it.
I am lining up to get lunch. Oftentimes, we only eat this 1 meal a day. It is only cornstarch and no other food.
Having gone through Cyclone Eloise 2 years ago, local city volunteers have mobilized after the disaster. They prepare food and utensils and go to the residents in need.
We are donating beans, cooking oil, and cornstarch. Besides these, we have also prepared plates, spoons, and other utensils ready to provide food here for 12 days.
The utensils Tzu Chi volunteers brought are very helpful. This way, people without utensils do not need to borrow them. They can line up with everyone else and wait to receive food.
Besides delivering supplies, volunteers also help cook food. They provide food for about 4,000 people every day.
Today's lunch is much better, as there are beans to eat with cornstarch. In the past, we only had cornstarch.
Thank you for delivering enough cornstarch and beans. Before yesterday, we only had a cornstarch. Sometimes we did not receive any food.
In the past few days, we only ate cornstarch. But now with the food you brought, we are very happy. You brought us a nice surprise. I believe the situation will become better.
Although the food is simple, the residents are very grateful. With the help of volunteers, the residents will be able to rebuild their lives after the disaster. 23-year-old Soros is from Mozambique. In 2019, Cyclone Eloise destroyed his house, and through a friend's introduction to Tzu Chi, he began volunteering. Passionate about photography, he took on the responsibility of capturing the moments of affected residents.
É bom ajudar o meu próximo porque recebo as bênçãos. Não estou mais atrás do emprego, mas estou mais ligado em ajudar as pessoas.
In the rain, a group of young local volunteers are repairing the house for the child. 23-year-old Soros, who is one of the volunteers, can understand the struggles of not having shelter.
During Cyclone Eloise, my house was destroyed. At that time, my grandmother injured her back and was unable to return to the farm for work.
2 years ago, after Cyclone Eloise, Soros got into contact with Tzu Chi, and through volunteers, he became part of a big family. In Namatanda, he was part of the Work for Relief program, as he also took on the responsibility of recording the aftermath of the cyclone.
Mozambique is far from Taiwan. I want to let everyone in the world see the true footage of Mozambique. This is why I learned photography and filming. I want to let everyone know what is happening in Mozambique through these images.
Besides being in charge of recording, Soros also took the responsibility of taking care of his family. The money he received from Work for Relief was used to purchase bricks, as he hopes to provide a home for his family.
These bricks are purchased with the money from Tzu Chi's Work for Relief program. I believe in the near future, I can build my own house and let my family move in. We don't have to be afraid of the cyclone anymore.
Turning from a receiver to a giver, Soros is contributing to his family and community. It is believed that in the future, Soros may help more people in need.
The Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines recently recognized the Tzu Chi Foundation Philippines for its support in humanitarian assistance. The recognition Tzu Chi has received also indicates that they'll continue to cooperate in the future.
Distributing supplies to thousands of households requires not only large container truck, but also manpower and guidance. In the Philippines, every time typhoons struck, many local volunteers emerged to help, and also military came to support.
In behalf of all the members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, I'd like to thank our partner, Tzu Chi Philippines, for really the benevolent and very meaningful projects which we have, which are all geared towards helping our needy fellow Filipinos who were very much affected not only by the pandemic but by the calamities that have struck and hit the country recently. I would like to assure you that this partnership would continue, would go on, and even become stronger as the days and years go by.
The Chief of the Staff of the Philippines Armed Force, General Gabor Gabe, personally presented the plaque of the recognition to Tzu Chi Philippines. It was accepted by Deputy CEO Alvaro Lee and James Chua as the mandatory thanks to Tzu Chi for its relief works on COVID-19 crisis and typhoons.
In Malaysia, 37-year-old Ong Yang Mei is a clothing salesperson. Due to the pandemic, her income is greatly decreased. After her father suffered from an illness, the family faced financial difficulties. City volunteers provided care or living subsidies, helping this family through this difficult time.
Through massage, the blood circulation in the senior's feet can be stimulated. Ong Yong Mei is diligently learning how to take care of her father.
When I'm doing massage, his leg will start to move about. If I exert more pressure, he will feel pain and ask me to stop.
She's a clothing salesperson. Last year, due to the pandemic, her income has greatly decreased. The family's living expenses and her father's medical expenses has led this family into a financial crisis.
Back then, my father had a sudden fall. I saw on Facebook that there is an organization called Tzu Chi. Soon, a Tzu Chi brother actually sent some supplies over.
Besides making arrangements for team of doctors to check on the father, volunteers also provided spiritual support.
Yes, the Tzu Chi brother has helped install the ITV for our family. It helped a lot. He also brought a doctor to check on my father.
It's the first time they have installed the ITV in their home, so we carried out a simple ceremony, symbolizing the beginning of a new life.
Yes, we need to encourage them to let them know that no matter what difficulties they're facing, they should never give up.
With the love from volunteers, Ong Yong Mei does not feel lonely anymore, as she now has more strength and courage to face life's challenges.
During the Lunar New Year holiday, Hualien prison guards remain at their posts. To show them some care, city volunteers visited them. In addition, city volunteers purchased some stationery items for an inmate's child. Let's take a look.
Picking out suitable stationery items, this volunteer isn't buying this for her own grandchild, but to fulfill the wish of a 3-year-old toddler.
The child lives in the present, and he hopes to have markers and coloring books for the Lunar New Year, so I'm here to find some for him.
This child has been in prison since he was 3 months old, as his mother is serving a sentence. Without much social interaction, his learning development was once limited.
When he was around 1, he didn't talk much, and I didn't know what to do. I was worried about his speech delay, but then the volunteers bought books for him, and I began reading to him. He started talking more.
In these past 3 years, the volunteers have helped out as much as they could with the baby items. They can't stand the child suffering.
When one of the Dharma masters knew there was a baby in the prison and need diapers, she agreed to help supply it. As the child is leaving prison soon, we hope he finds a good environment to grow up in.
It's the Lunar New Year, and Tzu Chi is also here to cheer on those having to remain at their work posts.
We are here to send them some cheer and encouragement for a job well done. The Dharma masters have given them a little gift to wish them well.
During the Lunar New Year, the prison guards are stationed at their post, working hard to keep Taiwan safe, and we have nothing but words of gratitude for them.
Next, we head to Zhanghua Xiushui Township, where city volunteers are helping care recipient Ms. Peng. She has been raising her 2 children on her own since her husband passed away. Her house is not partitioned well and does not have a restroom. They helped the volunteers of remodeling the home and building a restroom for the family.
Fixing up this old home is going to take a lot of work. First, Tzu Chi volunteers must remove all the furniture. Tearing down the old roofing and wooden partition is easy compared to the work that's going into digging a hole for the septic tank. Originally from Indonesia, Ms. Peng has been in Taiwan for over 20 years. And since her husband passed away, she's been raising her 2 children on her own. Their home does not have their own washroom, resulting in long-term usage of public facilities for the family.
We hope to help this care recipient so they can turn their life around.
Tzu Chi is helping to remodel and repair the home so Ms. Peng's family can live in a better environment.
3 of us used to live in such cramped space. We only had the 1 room to sleep in, but now, thanks to Tzu Chi's help, each one of us has our own room.
Putting up spring couplets and entering their new fixed-up home, the family is speechless at their blessings.
Thank goodness you are here for us. Everything is so much more comfortable now. I don't know what to say, but thank you so much.
The tears are of happiness as well as gratitude.
A recycling station in Fuding, Fujian resumes operation on the 4th day of the Lunar New Year holiday every year. Volunteers drove vehicles to homes to collect recyclables, and volunteers at the recycling station did important sorting.
On the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, Fuding recycling vehicles set off from the office for a day of work.
Usually we do recycling every day. Every day we do this work, but during Lunar New Year we must stop for 3 or 4 days, though there are already a lot of recyclables. So we start from the beginning of this recycling mission, which 14 years ago started on the 4th day of the first lunar month. This is to say when we start collecting recyclables.
This recycling vehicles travels along the alleys of Fuding, approaching the home of Tzu Chi volunteer Zhang Huangdi, who has many recyclables waiting for volunteers to collect. After trucks and trucks of recyclables returned to the recycling station, volunteers hurriedly sorted them.
As there are a lot of things to do at home during the Lunar New Year, do I still have time to do recycling? Yes, I'll squeeze a little time to do this. I can arrange a little time. I'll go home and cook for a while for my son and others.
Chen Suihua, who suffered serious brain damage due to a car accident 3 years ago, lived with her daughter in Hong Kong during her recovery. Only recently returned to Fuding. She still eagerly does recycling.
Serving others, serving the poor is something that I desperately want to do.
Volunteers bury their heads in these piles of recyclables and keep up the work with their hands. Their eager action to save the earth does not stop over Lunar New Year.
At Zhongli Recycling Station, Liao Yider specializes in sorting recyclables. In the past, he was often misunderstood by people due to his cerebral palsy. Now he's keen and capable, and even his mother is surprised by his change.
变得很聪明，也很开心。
I can categorize well.
这是
As you can see, this is aluminum. This is iron. This is a paper, hard plastic. And this is a water pipe.
水管。来这边的时候就比较，自己的心情啊，会比较好啊，比较快乐啊。
那你以前有很不快乐吗？
对，我妈妈是觉得说我比较聪明，他们现在也是在做环保，然后。每天都去捡破铜烂铁，然后就是等一些回来卖，然后他们就会问我说这是什么类？那什么类？
哇，那你现在变环保老师哎？
对，这是大家都叫我班长。
It's the Lunar New Year holiday in Taiwan, and with families gathered around the TV, it's easy to sit for long periods of time without moving. However, research shows that prolonged sitting can actually increase your risk for chronic health problems. Doctors advise for every 50 minutes of sitting, 10 minutes of exercise is needed.
When gathered at home during the holiday, make sure not to sit for over 6 hours at a time, because what seems like a relaxing time for the body actually has a hidden danger for one's health.
After sitting for long periods of time, the body's metabolism slows down and body fat starts accumulating. So the risk of chronic disease, such as diabetes and obesity, increases. The risk of cardiovascular problems also increases. This also includes the risk for lung and gastrointestinal cancer for those who sit for long periods at a time.
In the short run, perhaps it will not cause such a big problem, but sitting for long periods at a time impacts the muscle and bone structure. According to numbers compiled by the Ministry of Health and Welfare, in the past 2 years, over 220,000 people have sought chiropractic services for herniated discs a week after the Lunar New Year holiday. Doctors advise exercising to decrease health risks. However, those who sit for longer periods at a time must double the amount of exercising to achieve the same impact as others.
Many people's perception is that it's okay if I'm inactive. I can just exercise to make up for it. However, according to the World Health Organization, a healthy person needs to exercise 150 minutes a week at an intensity of mid to strong cardio activity. However, if you're prone to sitting for long periods of time, we must double that.
The National Health Administration advises for 5 to 10 minutes of activity to every 50 minutes of sitting. Next, we hear from a physiotherapist on simple exercises to relax your muscles.
People nowadays tend to use their mobile phone a lot, and they often misalign their head and neck for prolonged periods of time. You can do some exercises to relax your neck by tucking in your chin. Take your right hand and put it on the outside of your left knee, then stretch it to the opposite side, which then elongates the left side of the body, which includes the muscles in the sciatic nerves and glutes.
The Lunar New Year holiday is a good time to slow down, but still remember to drink plenty of water, exercise, and maintain control of one's diet, as only in having good daily habits can we all avoid health problems.
During the Lunar New Year, acute diarrhea is frequently experienced. This year, with the pandemic prevention measures, such as wearing masks and frequent hand washing, the Ministry of Health and Welfare says that the number of patients with acute diarrhea dropped. Here's our report.
The dinner table during Lunar New Year is usually full of good food, with some 2 to 3 times more people experiencing gastrointestinal discomfort. This year, however, is special as pandemic prevention measures have been deeply rooted in people's hearts. Although there are still many cases of acute diarrhea, it is at its lowest point in the past 5 years.
The number of people with acute diarrhea is more than 2,000. Previous highs have reached nearly 4,000. So this drastic reduction is also related to everyone maintaining good hygiene.
This reduction may be related to people's habit of wearing masks, as this action should not be taken lightly. The main symptoms of gastroenteritis, such as watery diarrhea and vomiting, may also include fever, stomach pain, and nausea, usually lasting 1 to 10 days.
It is mostly related to virus infection and unclean food. People are urged to wash their hands frequently before and after meals. We also encourage people to eat meals that are mainly composed of cooked food.
Acute gastroenteritis, according to the pathogen, is divided into viral and bacterial. For union gatherings, one should use soap and wash their hands frequently, as well as avoid raw food. Paying attention to personal and environmental hygiene can help everyone enjoy a healthier holiday.
Kueh cupcake is a must-have snack for Malaysian Chinese during the Lunar New Year. China Ming's family makes them every year, adhering to tradition. Let's take a look.
Kueh cupcake is one of the favorite Lunar New Year snacks of Malaysian Chinese. According to legend, a descendant of Chinese immigrants integrated into Malay culture improved upon the popular sweet egg rolls in southern China, eventually developing the well-known kueh cupcake. They are still hand-grilled over charcoal shaped like a fan and contain a rich coconut milk flavor, making it must-have food for every family during Lunar New Year. Chen Ami has been making cakes with his mother since he was a child. Although he has mastered the secrets, he had to do outside work to earn money for the family in the early years, preventing him from helping his family make this traditional Lunar New Year cake.
Women do more of this kind of work. We are all working outside, but now retired and there was nowhere to go, I began to help them.
If you want to make a fragrant and crispy kueh cupcake, the right ingredients and a charcoal fire are the key.
We use hot coals to make biscuits, which are most fragrant because it is hotter.
Putting the mold on the coals to preheat, batter is poured in, and then it is put on the fire for charcoal grilling. However, the temperature of the charcoal is not easy to control.
It depends on the fire. You must be very careful and you can't be sloppy. If it's dark at first glance, it seems too hot. If the batter is too thick and the mold absorbs too much batter, it may be too cold. If your batter won't stick to the mold when it spreads out, it might get burnt. No one wants to work hard and sitting over a hot fire.
Despite the hard work, Chan's family still adheres to tradition for the benefit of regular customers who patronize the business every year to retain this ancient snack.
Many people nowadays look for traditional taste. Actually, the kind of old snack is hard to find nowadays. Generally, they're all done differently and won't smell when you bake it with an electric stove. If it's made by hand, it's pretty and a bit darker, as it must have that smell.
The traditional craftsmanship of making cakes and cakes for Lunar New Year is not part of history but continues to live on as a precious cultural treasure, providing more impetus to protect and save ancient craftsmanship.
Tzu Chi Brazil Liaison Office recently held its year blessing ceremony. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.